How to Draw a Frill by Ume. Let's begin the lesson. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Ume, and we'll be learning how to draw a frill. First, we'll start with the basics. Usually, a frill looks like a cloth with a cylindrical shape. Because of this shape, the frill will lift up when the air gets in, allowing the inside to be seen. Make sure you capture this point while drawing. Let's look at how to create this frilly part. As you can see, there are three parts: the left wraparound, the front, and the right wraparound. The cloth is pulled in each direction. Now let's think about the angle of the view. A frill, like any object, naturally changes appearance when viewed from a low angle or a high angle. The lower the angle, the more visible the inside part is. The higher the angle, the less visible it becomes. Here's a sneaky little technique. If you draw the frill with a seam extending from there, and draw a stronger pulling and gentler base, you'll get more floating feeling. The seam area also has creases, so if you draw some there, it will look more like a frill. On the right side is an example of a not so well patterned frill. Although you might see this kind of frill drawn quite often, and I can't say that it's bad, with the wraparound drawn like this, or when there aren't enough dents, it'll look unnatural. If you try to visualize it and draw it twisted this way and that, you will get a lively, more three-dimensional frill. For example, piling the cloths like this, or adding some dents here. Let's think about the whole frill and also the whole cloth. When you want to draw a lively frill, you have to think about a skirt or sleeves. Try to pay attention to the air as much as possible, where it should lift up, and where it should pull down, and where it would shrink. Now let's actually draw it. There are 5 basic steps. First, draw a sketch. Second, draw the silhouette. Third, draw in the lines. Fourth, draw a frill while thinking about how the cloth will flow. And fifth, coloring, shading, or adding in a pattern. First, let's create a rough sketch. The wraparound also depends on the silhouette, so you probably want to draw it a bit short. So this is our rough sketch here. Next, let's draw the silhouette of the frill, then draw a line. Although I'm drawing it with equal spaces, when I want to indicate where the cloth gets narrower, I can just make the space smaller. Then I'll draw this side lifting up, whereas this side is being pulled down as if there is wind. I think the cloth around this area should be narrower, and I'll also add this line for the wraparound. Lastly, let's draw the frill. Carefully think about each part when deciding where the frill should bend. This is what we had before. This is the left side, the front, and the right side. We'll draw each part differently. First, we can draw the wind on the left side like this. While on the right side, we can draw it like this. However, On the inside, you can draw it a bit darker. Well, now here is the front side. We did it! Finally, I'll add some shading. There are 3 kinds of shading. First, where the cloth is piled up. Second, where the cloth dents. And third, shadows on the inside. First, let's paint the piling part of the frill, and also paint the piling part on the back here. Next, the dented part. Finally, let's add shadow on the inside. Of course, if there are legs here, there would be shadow from the legs too, so keep in mind while drawing. When you draw monochrome work, or a manga piece that doesn't need any color, you can also add in some of the lines here instead. These kind of lines can also be used as shadows. So that was how to apply shading. Let's move on to the applied lesson. Once you've got the basics under control, you can enhance your skills even more by branching out into drawing various other kinds of frills. I'll briefly explain 3 applications in which you can further your frill drawing skills. The first is creating more detail. As you can see from the examples, I've added more and more frills. The second is changing it into a lace. As often seen, if you change the lace even a little, the impressions come off very different, so it's good for creating many combinations. This is not the usual frill, but a more fluttering version of it. Lastly, let's control the direction of the wind. Now, the flow and the direction of the cloth become really important. In this picture, the wind flows from left to right, so we create more fluttering of a frill on the right hand side. For the adjustment of the wraparound, as you might see from the picture, makes it look like the binding of a Santa Claus bag. There's this sort of clothes, when suddenly being pulled from above will become like this. Well, thank you for watching this video on how to draw frills.